you? I hope all are you good. Today let me start English chapter number 5 as you like it. मतलब जैसा तुम। एक स्टोरी है विलियम शेक्सपियर द्वारा लिखी गई है, ठीक है। इसमें प्रेम है, धोखा है और बहुत सा प्रकृति को लेके बहुत सारी चीज़ें हैं, ठीक है। दो भाइयों की कहानी है ये। There was once a big duke named Frederick who took the dukedom that should have belonged to his brother, sending him into exile, ठीक है। दो भाई थे, बिग ड्यूक और फ्रेडरिक। तो बिग ड्यूक ने क्या किया, फ्रेडरिक को उसका सारा राज्य हड़प करके उसको जंगल में भेज दिया। His brother went into the forest of Arden where he lived the life of a bold forester as Robin Hood did in Sherwood Forest in Merry England। तो वो वहाँ से चला गया, उसने जंगल में अपना जीवन किसकी तरह, रॉबिन हुड की तरह बिताना शुरू कर दिया। The banished duke's daughter Rosalind remained with Celia, Frederick's daughter, and she too loved each other more than most sister, ठीक है। दो थी, फिर क्या हुआ, The banished duke's daughter, ड्यूक्स की दो बेटियां थी, रोजालिंड और remained with Celia, Frederick's daughter, and the two loved each other more than most sister। One day there was a wrestling match। एक बार क्या हुआ, रेसलिंग मैच होना था और at court and Rosalind and Celia went to see it। Charles, a celebrated wrestler, was there who had killed many men in contests of this kind। चार्ल्स जो बहुत ही शक्तिशाली था, उसने बहुत लोगों को मार गिराया था। और Orlando, the young man he was to wrestle with, was so slender and youthful that Rosalind and Celia thought he would surely be killed as others had been। तो उन्होंने सोचा कि तो दुबला पतला सा आदमी है ना, और ये तो इसको मार गिराएगा चार्ल्स। So as others had been, so they spoke to him। वो उन दोनों ने फिर उससे कहा and asked him not to attempt so dangerous an adventure, but the only effect of their words was to make him wish more to come off well in the encounter, so as to win praise from such sweet ladies, है ना। Orlando, like Rosalind's father, was being kept out of his inheritance by his brother and was so sad at his brother's unkindness that until he saw Rosalind, he did not care but lived or died. Okay, so but now the sight of the fair Rosalind gave him strength and courage, so that he did marvelously and at last threw Charles to such a tune that the wrestler had to be carried off the ground. Duke Frederick was pleased with his courage and asked his name. My name is Orlando and I am the youngest son of Sir Roland de Boys, said the young man. Now, Sir Roland de Boys, when he was alive, had been a good friend to the banished Duke, है ना, जो ड्यूक का बहुत अच्छा दोस्त था। So that Frederick heard with regret whose son Orlando wasn't would not befriend him, but Rosalind was delighted to hear that this handsome young stranger was a son of her father's old friend, है ना, उसके पिताजी का जो दोस्त थे उनका बेटा था वो। And as they were going away, she turned back more than once to say another kind word to the brave young man. Gentleman, she said, giving him a chain from her neck, है ना, उसने क्या किया, अपने गले में उसका इसकी चेन दी। Wear this for me, इसको मेरे लिए पहनो। I could give more, but that my hand lacks means। Orlando was too spellbound to utter a single word. He was captivated by Rosalind's heavenly beauty in this way। Rosalind and Orlando fell in love with each other। अब क्या हो जाता है, उन दोनों को प्यार हो जाता है ना, at first sight। Orlando became so speechless that he could not even ask the two ladies about their identity, ठीक है, वो कुछ बोल नहीं पाता और वो इवन उन दोनों से वो उनकी आइडेंटिटी भी नहीं पूछता कि तुम लोग हो कौन। Rosalind and Celia, when they were alone, began to talk about the handsome wrestler, and Rosalind confessed that she loved him at first sight. Come, come, said Celia, wrestle with thy affections. Oh, answered Rosalind, they take the part of a better wrestler than myself. Look, here comes the Duke with his eye full of anger, said Celia. You must leave the court at once, he said to Rosalind। उसने कहा कि तुम अभी यहाँ से चली जाओ, ये कोर्ट छोड़ दो। Why she asked, उससे पूछे क्यों। Never mind, why answered the Duke, you are banished If within 10 days you are found within 20 miles of court, you die. Despite a strong protest from Celia, Duke Frederick refused to reverse his order. Celia was deeply attached to Rosalind's right from the childhood. बचपन से वो उसके बहुत close रही है. She could not bear the idea of being separated from Rosalind. She suggested a plan to Rosalind. The plan says the both of them would slip out of the palace in disguise. It was decided that Rosalind would disguise herself as a male by the name of Ganymede, whereas Celia would smudge her face with umber and put on poor, rough clothes. According to the plan, Celia assumed a new name, Aliena. They now acted like a brother and sister. They took all their wealth and jewels with them. They also took touchstone, the court gesture with them, and fled from the palace unnoticed. The forest of Arden was their destination. Rosalind, Celia, and Touchstone had already reached the forest of Arden. Although they had jewels and money with them, but they had no shelter. Moreover, they were extremely tired and hungry too. Incidentally, they met Corin, an old shepherd. Rosalind asked him if he could arrange for them. फिर वो एक चरवाहे से मिलती है, वो कहते हैं कि कुछ अरेंज कर दो हमारे लिए, some food, कुछ खाना, रहने के लिए जगह इस जंगल में. Corin said that he was only a servant and couldn't do anything for them, but his master was an owner of a sheep cote and had large. ठीक है, मैं तो यहाँ पे केवल एक सर्वेंट हूँ, मैं कुछ नहीं कर सकता, बट जो मेरे मालिक है. He further told that his master wanted to sell his property, including his cottage and flock of sheep. Rosalind expressed her willingness to make a deal with Corin's master. The deal was finalized. Rosalind and Celia bought the cottage and the sheep from Corin's master. They also took services of Corin as they were totally unacquainted with the ways of forest life. In this way, Rosalind and Celia came to have an identity of being shepherds in the forest of Arden. It was due to this newfound identity that they could maintain their anonymity in the forest of Arden. Neither Orlando nor Duke Senior could look through the disgust Ganymede and Elena. मतलब वो दोनों एक चरवाहे की तरह वहाँ पे जीवन व्यतीत करने लगे जिसका किसी को कुछ पता नहीं था. In the meantime, Orlando fled to the forest of Arden, realizing the risk to his life from his eldest brother Orlando. The old loyal servant Adam was with him. Orlando and Adam had reached the outskirts of the forest of Arden. Both were exhausted and extremely hungry. So being young, Orlando could tolerate hunger and fatigue, but Adam was an old man of 80 and was almost dying of starvation. है ना, बट उसको बहुत भूख लग रही थी क्योंकि उसकी एज भी ज़्यादा थी. Orlando was deeply indebted to Adam for his loyalty and was committed to save his life at any cost. So he put Adam under a tree in a safe place and went in search of food. Okay. Duke Senior with his comrades was sitting in front of his cave. They were about to start their meal. Orlando suddenly burst open them with his sword drawn. Okay, so he wanted them not to touch food until he had taken some share of food for the starving old man. Duke Senior assured him that he was welcome to their camp and there was no need for him to behave in such a rude and uncultured manner. The Duke asked Orlando to go and bring Adam there. The Duke also promised that nobody will touch. Orlando and Adam were welcomed by the group of Duke Senior. Orlando introduced himself as the younger son of late Sir Roland de Bois, who was a great friend of Duke Senior. Orlando thus got a shelter for himself in the forest. He was accepted as a member of the camp of Duke Senior, and his lords, being kindly received, he stayed with them. Now Orlando could think of nothing but Rosalind, and he went about the forest, carving her name on trees and writing love sonnets and hanging them on the bushes. Luckily there Rosalind and Celia found them, met them, but he did not know Rosalind in a boy's clothes. है ना कि तुम उसको लड़के के कपड़े पहने हुए तो पहचान नहीं पाया. Though he liked the pretty shepherd youth because he fancied a likeness in him to her he loved. So there is a foolish lover, said Rosalind, who haunts these woods and hangs sonnets on the trees. If I could, I find him, I would soon cure him of his folly. Orlando confessed that he was the foolish lover, and Rosalind said, if you will come and see me every day, so I will pretend to be Rosalind, and I will take her part and be wayward and contrary as his the way of woman, till I make you ashamed of your folly, loving her. And so every day he went to her house and took a pleasure in saying to her all the pretty things he would have said to Rosalind, and she had the fine and secret joy of knowing that all his love words came to the right ears. Thus merry days passed pleasantly away. One morning as Orlando was going to visit Ganymede, he saw a man asleep on the ground, and that there was a lioness crouching near waiting for the man who was asleep to awake. For they say that lions will not prey on anything that is dead or sleeping. Then Orlando looks at the man and saw that it was his wicked brother, Oliver, who had tried to take his life. So he fought with the lioness and killed her and saved his brother's life. While Orlando was fighting the lioness, Oliver walked to see his brother, whom he had treated so badly, saving him from a wild beast at the risk of his own life. This made him repent of his wickedness, and he begged Orlando's pardon, and from thenceforth they were dear brothers. The lioness had wounded Orlando's arm so much that he could not go on to see the shepherd. So he sent his brother to ask Ganymede to come to him. Oliver went and told the whole story to Ganymede and Elena was so charmed, and with his manly way of confessing his faults, she fell in love with him at once. But when Ganymede heard of the danger Orlando had been in, she fainted, and when she came to herself, said, truly enough, I should have been a woman by right. Oliver went back to his brother and told him all this, saying, I love Elena so well that I will give me estates to you and marry her and live here as a shepherd. यहाँ पे रहे एक चरवाहे की तरह मुझसे शादी करके. Let your wedding be tomorrow, said Orlando, and I will ask the Duke and his friends. When Orlando told Ganymede how his brother was to be married on tomorrow, so he added, how bitter a thing it is look into happiness through another man's eye. Then answered Rosalind, still Ganymede's dress and speaking with his voice, if you do love Rosalind so near the heart, then when your brother marries Elena, shall you marry her? Now the next day, the Duke and his followers and Orlando and Oliver and Elena were all gathered together for that. Ganymede came in and said to the Duke, if I bring in your daughter and you say you will have her when I bring her, she said to Orlando, that would I have He answered, were I king of all kingdoms. Then he answered, were I king of all kingdoms. Then Rosalind and Celia went out, and Rosalind put on her pretty woman's clothes again, and after a while came back. She turned to her father, I give myself to you, for I am yours. If there be truth inside, he said, you are my daughter. Then she said to Orlando, I give myself to you, for I am yours. If there be truth inside, he said, you are my Rosalind. I will have no father if you be not he. She said to the Duke and to Orlando, I will have no husband if you be not he. So Orlando and Rosalind were married, and Oliver and Celia too. वो चारों की शादी हो जाती है फिर, and they live happy ever after, returning with the Duke to the kingdom. For Frederick had been shown by a holy hermit the wickedness of his ways, and so gave back to the dukedom of his brother, and himself went into a monastery to pray for forgiveness. The wedding was a merry one in the mossy glade. Shepherd and shepherdess who had been friends with Rosalind when she was herself disguised as a shepherd were married on the same day, and all with such pretty feastings and merrymaking as could be nowhere within furrows but only in the beautiful green wood. है ना, वो इस तरह से वापस आ जाते हैं और उसकी एक चरवाहे से शादी हो जाती है, वो भी चरवाहा बन जाती है उसके साथ में. Okay, so everyone, the chapter is in here. I hope you all are very well understand this chapter. We will meet you the next class. Thank you everyone.